You're at the California Wildlife Center, and we're a nonprofit organization that rescues, rehabilitates, and releases sick, injured, and orphaned native wildlife here in Southern California. We started in 1998 96 as a rescue organization for marine mammals, stranded marine mammals in the Malibu area, and we took them to the Marine Mammal Care Center in San Pedro. We've been doing that since 1996. The other animals that we rescued, the other wildlife, was for the first 2 years taken to other rehab organizations. One was the Wildlife Way Station in Tujunga, and the other was the Ojai Raptor Center up in Ojai.
Should we ask these people to do
background noise issue?
There's
4 people listening, so does it just go live now and then?
Yeah, and then it'll be on a YouTube channel. For your YouTube channel,
we have a YouTube channel.
You do not. It'll go up. It'll be a video. I'm asking if she can, so they can see now.
Jumping. Where are you supposed to look? At the camera? Okay. Bye, Jen. Thanks.
No, it's good.
So are we starting over?
Yes, please.
Okay. You're at the California Wildlife Center, located here in Calabasas, and we're a nonprofit organization that does rescue, rehabilitation, and release of sick, injured, and orphaned native wildlife. The organization started in 1996 with a group of dedicated people who saw a need, and the very first things that we did were rescuing. We were permitted to rescue marine mammals in the city of Malibu, so that's 27 miles of some pretty interesting coastline. And the animals that we rescued were then taken down to the Marine Mammal Care Center in San Pedro, which at the time was the only local rehabilitation center for marine mammals. The other animals that we took in were taken either to the Wildlife Way Station, which is in Tujunga, which at the time did some rehabilitation of wildlife. And then if they were raptors like hawks or owls, they were driven up to the Ojai Raptor Center in Ojai. After about 2 years of this, in 1998, it became apparent that there was a local need to have a facility here that could care for animals in a much more timely manner. So in 1998, the founders, working with California State Parks, identified a location that's on state park property. It's someone's former house that was then being used by state parks for ranger housing, which is where we are now. And then they hadn't used it for a while. So actually the very first thing that we rehabbed ourselves was the building here. And that first year in 1998, we took in about 200 animals. We had 1 person on staff and a core group of volunteers. The one staff person was a vet tech. So in the years since then, we've built specialized outdoor enclosures. We brought in a trailer, which is actually used by our wildlife veterinarian, Dr. Tom, for surgeries, digital x-ray equipment, and at times a quarantine for sensitive species. We have a baby care unit, which is downstairs, which primarily is used for during our busy season, which is baby season. So that starts sometime around March and runs through October. And those would be where we would take healthy orphans. So anything from hummingbirds to baby squirrels to opossums to, I think right now there we have quite an assortment of house finches, wrens, mourning doves, scrub jays, mockingbirds, California towhees. So there's about 100 birds down there right now. And the majority of those are being fed every 45 minutes by volunteers and some staff. And then there's another area that's separated in the baby care unit. And those birds are being fed every half hour, which is what their parents would do if they hadn't been brought in here. Another area that we have is our ICU, and that's where animals that are either injured or are in rehabilitation for following a surgery. It's where they're kept quiet, or they could be on medications, needing special medications. And we have a hospital technician in there working with our volunteers and our vet. So one of the interesting things about what we do when there's a surgery on one of our animals is that, unlike people who you can talk to and say you've got to do, physical therapy, we, particularly with birds, large birds, they would need, if they were kept just in a cage, to keep them quiet so a fracture or something could heal. Like people, they would lose their muscle tone, and it would take much longer for them to go outside, regain their strength so that they could eventually be released. So one of the things our vet does is you have to actually put them under anesthesia and exercise their wings for them while they're under anesthesia so we can try and keep their strength up. We have, in 2013, there was something called an unusual mortality event that was announced or declared by National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. That's when an unusually high number of California sea lions and elephant seals were stranding on Southern California beaches. So at that point, they asked us if we would build a temporary elephant seal rehabilitation facility here at the center, which was actually our parking lot. But after 6 weeks and doing a quick, crazy amount of research and fundraising, we put together this facility, which could accommodate up to 25 elephant seal pups. And those elephant seal pups, being about 3 times the size of a sea lion pup, if we took the elephant seal pups here, it allowed more time and more space for Marine Mammal Care Center in San Pedro to take in more of the sea lions. And we've done that for the last 2 years. And then this year, they asked us, because it's now worse than it was in 2013, they asked us to also rehabilitate California sea lion pups. So that's something new. They're all marine mammals, but they're very different than sea lions, elephant seal pups. So I see there's a question here. We can just answer. What animal do you usually rescue the most? There's probably about 5 species that we get the most of, like over 200 of each. And that would be fox squirrels, opossums, crows, ducklings. What's another one? Caroline? I did squirrels. Crows, possums, ducklings. Yeah, that's the majority. So that's probably close to 900 animals of those species every year. Some of the more unusual animals that we take care of are we're permitted to do, we're one of the few facilities in Southern California that's permitted to rehabilitate coyote pups. And we're also one, I think only 3 in Southern California that are permitted to rehabilitate fawns, baby deer. These are very special, specific things that we have to do. So we've grown a lot from when we started in '96 as a strictly rescue organization. Now we're doing rehabilitation, and last year actually took in over 4,600 animals. So the need continues to grow. One of the most important things we can do is try to educate people on how to coexist with our wild neighbors to avoid some of the unfortunate events that happen. And we tell people not to trim their trees during the spring, summer, and early fall. The best time to do that is November, December, and January, when there's nobody building nests in the trees, and it's the best thing for the trees because they're dormant. And we try to educate people that just because they see a baby bird on the ground doesn't mean that it needs to be rescued. Birds, the majority of birds, vast majority of birds learn to fly from the ground up. So we actually ask people to take a picture and text it to us so that we can determine whether or not it's a healthy fledgling, and the very best thing for the bird would be for people to leave it alone. There's a question. What animal do you rescue most?
There's an animal.
Okay, how do I get to that? Click
OK.
Okay. This, do I click on that?
Actually, no, you can just wrap it up, I guess.
Okay, I'm told I've done everything I need to do here. I can wrap it up. Thank you for listening, and support your local wildlife rehabilitation centers. Thanks.